opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself, this is a show my people. Believe our hopes are to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that must be happen like I got blue skies. And nothing make people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody got timing. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice your opinion and place your calling. WB. Get up, make every day count. Don't waste it, people. Do your part, play a role, get where you need to. You can tune in from work or in your vehicle. If you got a problem, pick up the phone. Why wait? It's a time calling. It's a show with no matter even if you're at home. Just call in. WB. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show, my people. Believe our hopes are to needless reason. Nobody feel left out, is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Love, respect, unselfishness and cooperation. That's how we need to build a strong nation. We are the people to make the changes. We are the changes. WB. And all the things that must be happen like I got blue skies. And nothing that people get victimized. Let's work together for better. We got to unite. Belize, yeah. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We gotta keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody gotta put the time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize.
Good morning and welcome to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes talk show here at XTV simulcasting on Creme Radio at 3304 Amandala Drive in Sweet Southside, Belize City. I'm Sister YaYa Marin Coleman sitting in for Most High this week, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And today is Monday, April 7th, 2025. We're 11 days away from Holy Saturday, cross-country time. I think this will be the last week of school for a number of students, and I probably like 2 weeks Easter break. I know they're looking forward to it. I don't know about the adults. But give thanks for this morning. It's a Monday morning, and the time for Wake Up Belize. Wake up mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually. Time for Wake Up Belizeans at home and the ones in the diaspora. Know the lineup. We'll have the National Meteorological Service of Belize weather forecast, and the forecaster this morning is Tariq Matthews. And then we're going right into the first news brief of the day, brought to us by Creme News Room under the directorship of Maricela Maya. So, weather time, I could say if more kite breeze and blow. Sun or hot, I could say what the weather forecaster will say.
Good morning. An approaching cold front will support moist and unstable conditions over our area. The 24-hour forecast: cloudy skies at times today and mostly cloudy skies tonight. Showers or thunderstorms will be isolated this morning. Then an increase in showers and thunderstorms are expected over the country this evening and tonight. The maximum temperatures for today will reach 86 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 92 inland and 81 up in the hills. The low temperatures for tonight will be around 75 degrees Fahrenheit along the coast, 70 inland and 66 up in the hills. The winds will be from the east-northeast at 5 to 15 knots with possible higher gusts, and the sea conditions will be moderate to rough. A small craft caution is in effect for occasionally gusty winds and local rough seas in easterly swells. Operators of small craft are advised to exercise caution. A high tide will occur this morning at 7:13, a low tide this afternoon at 12:10, another high tide this evening at 6:38, and another low tide early tomorrow morning at 1:41. The sun rose this morning at 5:42 and will set this evening at 6:07. The moon will rise this afternoon at 2:02 and will set early tomorrow morning at 3:06. In the fire risk forecast, the risk for forest or bushfires will be moderate to high. The outlook for Tuesday and Tuesday night, skies will be mostly cloudy. A few showers, periods of rain, and isolated thunderstorms will affect mainly southern, coastal, and offshore areas on Tuesday, with shower activity decreasing Tuesday night. For a review of our forecast and other products, please visit our website at nms.gov.bz. With that, we end this morning's forecast from the Belize National Met Service.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989, Creme FM presents the news. Informative, accurate, current information, local, regional, and international news, weather and sports. And now, the news.
Three people, including a woman and a minor, were shot Sunday afternoon at a residence on Iguana Street Extension in Belize City. Reports are that a gunman arrived as the passenger on a motorcycle and ran into the yard where he opened fire. Injured were 56-year-old Marin Richards, who was hit to the stomach, 36-year-old Edgar Chuck, hit to the arm, and a 12-year-old was hit to the foot. Meanwhile, in Belmopan, there was a shooting Saturday in front of TJ shop, just several blocks away from the U.S. Embassy in the Cahoon Walk area. Sometime after 1 p.m., a backseat passenger in a white suburban SUV fired multiple shots at a black Mazda SUV before the vehicle sped off. Residents report hearing at least a dozen shots fired. People, including children who were at the store, scrambled for cover. The shooting was caught on surveillance footage. It shows three people scrambling out of the Mazda in an attempt to avoid being shot. 23-year-old Jamal Hyde was injured to the leg and managed to drive himself to the hospital, located just a few blocks away. Reports are that police located the Suburban and determined that it was a rental. Their investigations continue. Residents of San Pedro are being invited by a group of concerned stakeholders to a public meeting on April 8 at 7 p.m. at the Lion's Den regarding the Cayo Rosario development. The groups include the Ambergris Fishing Guide Association, the Ambergris Key Citizens for Sustainable Development, the Belize Flats Fishery Association, and several others. The notice says the meeting is to discuss the ongoing dredging and the mangrove destruction happening around the island and to plan the way forward to defend the Cayo Rosario Flats and its marine reserve. There were anti-Trump demonstrations in several of the 50 states of the United States on Saturday. It was the largest nationwide show of opposition since Trump took office on January 20. The organizers of the protest they dubbed, quote, hands off, end quote, had planned for rallies in some 1,200 locations across the U.S. They highlighted their opposition to Trump's agenda, including social and economic issues. The demonstration came on the day that Trump's flat 10% tariff entered into force for all the countries it imports from. Many demonstrators held placards that read, quote, hands off Canada, end quote, quote, hands off Greenland, end quote, and, quote, hands off Ukraine, end quote. Other placards read, quote, we stand up to bullies, end quote, and, quote, empathy is the path, end quote. Some protesters are denouncing Elon Musk's influence on the administration, while others said they were motivated to demonstrate after seeing raids on immigrants, including students. Protests were also held in some cities outside of the U.S., including London, Paris, and Berlin. An unoccupied colonial-style two-story wooden and cement home was destroyed and a nearby cement structure had its contents damaged in an early morning fire on Hunters Lane in Belize City Sunday. The fire started after 2 a.m. Fire personnel responded and brought the blaze under control. The The second structure was occupied by Jenna Leslie. Fortunately, no one was injured. The cause of the fire and cost of the damages has not yet been determined. And that's the end of this morning's news brief. You may stay tuned to Creme Radio. Immediately after Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes will be the morning stew. And from 9 to 12, you can listen to news and commentary. And then at 12:30, there'll be a full news package on Creme Radio. At 3 o'clock, a news brief. And at 5:15, a full news package. At 6 o'clock here at XTV will be a full news package. And you could tune in at Facebook, XTV Belize, or YouTube, XTV Belize. Stay tuned as we take a quick break and come back for community conversations.
The first private radio in Belize since 1989. The news. Informative, accurate, current information.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Monday, April 7th, 2025. The phone number to call is 280-5848. We have one guest from 8 to 8:30. So I'd encourage I hope we'll have guests from 8 to 8:30 Tuesday and Wednesday. So I'd encourage for calling early, 280-5848. Larry G told me this morning that the junior cross country champion, how you go, Larry? The brother to Creme Classic Junior cross junior cycling winner. I think that Larry told me. Respect to the families where support their two youths, and they come from working class people, Southside Belize City. Big respect to them two youth. Larry G, send me their name so I could call the youth their name. Oftentimes we not see and hear enough of the positive things that happen regularly in communities throughout this country. For me, I especially like here positive, uplifting stories of African descendants racialized as black people in Belize. Because if you look upon most of the local news in Belize, you'd think that all black youths, male in particular though, that commit crime, because it's that they play over and over again. So I really welcome hearing positive, uplifting action stories within communities in the whole country, especially African descendants racialized as black people. So our guest who's coming in at 8 o'clock is a sister who I think need more airtime. She's a community organizer that I've worked with for a couple of years in the Jane Usher community. Big respect to the sister. Brilliant, fearless, creative, outstanding Belizean citizen. Pleased to say that she's my sister. So we expect she at 8 o'clock. It's 10 to 7 right now. So we have time. Remember, the number to call is 280-5848. And in 12 days, if I count right, it's cross-country time. When you hear that bugle, I say that the one time of the year when Belizeans are unified and you could feel the vibes. It's just, I love it. Last week, there were two things I may start off with, but I really want to emphasize to parents in particular of students in Belize. Too many Belizean students are not literate. And literacy not only have to do with reading. There are different components to literacy. I try to get one of the people in we're training a literacy for B1 guests for come and share with themselves. But too many Belizean children for years, it's not a written policy of the Ministry of Education, but it's a practice for Belizean students to get passed to another class, and the teachers they know, and the parents are to know that their students don't master the skills that they will need in the other grades when they push them up to. So that by the time some of them drop out of school for other social reasons as well, some of them not get accepted in a high school, some of them not graduate from high school, some of them fake it till they make it all the way to tertiary level and are not literate. Now, the Ministry of Education has to know this. And if they don't know, then what's already fail because that's their duty and then task. And I've been talking to other people because ever since about a couple of weeks ago when I left from working with other people in the same bike community, and I see the numbers of children who are not literate. Now I'm being told that especially because we don't have standardized testing anymore since I think it's 2021, the report I get, at least when they had the standardized testing, the school no want, this is how they give me the story. The school no want to look bad. So at least some of the teachers had classes, even if they made it teaching to the test, and even that the students master the content, then they coach them for make them get a higher grade pan the either the test where I think when they take in a standard 2 or 3, maybe it's BJAT, or and if I'm wrong, somebody could correct me. And then the primary school leaving examination, the PSC. That I may have classes and like cram the students there, so at least when the results come back, the school look good. But now with no standardized testing, I'm being told that on majority, there's no accountability to check and see if students are learning what they should learn in each class. So my understanding, and again, anybody could call and correct me. My understanding is that since then take away the standardized testing, what should happen is that each child should have a portfolio where whatever class then take and then get tested on in whatever way they get tested, it go in that portfolio. And there should be an assessment module so that if I go to school and ask for say how my youth they do, I want to get the test grade plus one assessment sheet where I show you what in grade mean, what a child master, what a child have weakness in, and then each teacher for that subject should then, and to my knowledge, there is a complementary online program for help the teachers then design for each child what they need for them to get stronger in the area where they're weak. But the parents or the guardians or the adults have to go to the school consistently, like every week, to check the file to see how your child do. You shouldn't wait till report card or midterm for know how your child do. And I'm being told that even on the report card or the midterm, you might say one high grade for that student, but you at home with your children should be able to tell, can this child read? Does this child understand where to read? Can this child write? And so really I'd ring the bell for parents, adults, guardians of children from preschool to primary school. If our children are not literate, there's no way they could be successful whole beings if they're not literate. And my understanding is that Belizean children, for the most part, in public schools, have not been literate. So I talked to another elder, and the elder said, YaYa, listen. And I think I said this last week. The elder said, YaYa, when we made go to school, for we teachers never have no colonial papers, no degrees. They had none. But we learned reading, writing, and arithmetic. We mastered it. And for the students in Standard 6 who did so well on those subjects, they then became teachers. And so I say, I never think about it, that then teachers never have no colonial papers. So indeed, the person said, from my experience going to school, I come see how we come have 90% literacy rate at that time, at least in a reading, writing, and arithmetic, which are the core subject areas. We need more people to have these conversations. We need to hold the parents, first and foremost, and here who are the whole accountable, the adults, the parents, the guardians of Belizean children in public school. Why do stress public school? There's some working class people who may be able to send their children to private school. There's some public school teachers who, because they see the failure at the public school, they send for their children the private school. Public school teachers. There are some public school teachers who retire and go teach in a private school. So, what are you going to the Ministry of Education? This is the Ministry of Education, and I want to make it my business this week for contact the Ministry of Education. And I know if they still have one literacy unit. I know they used to have one at the old Teachers College. I go and go find out. I go and go dig up. I go and go look for the information for bring it back to the people and say, listen, we have a duty to our children. We the fail. The first set of people who they fail, that the parents, the guardians, the adults of children going to primary school in this entire country. No, it definitely happened in Belize City. So we are thinking of the rural areas. You might have one or two children where they do really good. But I can't use the one or two as a measuring stick for the majority of Belizean children who are not literate. And this is the responsibility of the Ministry of Education. Who do hold the Ministry of Education accountable? I think they got the second largest budget in the national budget. Who do hold the Ministry of Education accountable? This is unacceptable, and this has happened for years. So who to benefit from children not being literate? I'm going to talk to my Belizean people. Call me. 280-5848. Enough of you know this better than me because you in the school system, you made in the school system, you work for the Ministry of Education, or you made work for the Ministry of Education, and on silence make you guilty of the failure of we Belizean children. This cannot continue. Even at the high school level, nothing, tertiary level, UB, Gale, and nothing, not literate. So I asked one of the people and we're training on literacy for come in and broke down what literacy mean. What it mean for be literate. I share with Uno that we had, they have 2 schools on the Placencia Peninsula, both Peninsula Elementary Limited, which is a private school, and St. Alfonso Roman Catholic Primary School in St. Bite, which is a public school, working together with the school administrations. My position is that the support from the Ministry of Education and Catholic school management, my position, piss poor. Piss poor. And my experience is when holding people in Belize in positions of power, influence, and sometimes wealth accountable, they're not depend it. They're not depend nobody to question them. They're not depend answering back no email or text or phone call in a reasonable time and having one meaningful conversation to give evidence of why a situation is what it is when being questioned. That the culture. They don't feel that nobody, least of all, YaYa, for call them or email them or text them or have a conversation in a public space about their failure. We the people love it. We love it. That's why I continue. Good morning. Thanks for calling so I could stop talk. Tell me about it.
Yeah. Good morning, sister. YaYa, my trade tech alumni.
Who this?
Since you're talking about...
Wait. Who this?
My name is Castellet from Las Vegas. We're talking about Trade Tech College.
That's why I wondered who was my Trade Tech alumni. I'm like, what? I don't talk to one Trade Tech alumni for a long time.
Building P, plumbing. Yeah. So, I'm a graduate from Cal State Long Beach and also from El Camino College. Got 2 degrees. But when it comes to the new generation, we have the same problem here in America. These kids are illiterate nowadays. Why? In my opinion, Las Vegas has the worst school district in the country. But when it comes to education, the kids have to be more repetitious. Just like shooting a free throw, like Stephon Curry. You got to do it over and over again. But basically, what the school needs, basically, you talk about, let's take essay, for example. How to write an essay. If you write a 10-page or a 5-page essay, and you got 26 students in a class with only one teacher, it's highly impossible for her to proofread each student's essay, to proofread it and go over their corrections. That's not going on in the system over there. They do an essay, they turn it in, so they do not know what they are doing because the kids over there don't know what present and past participles when it comes to English and everything. That's the main thing right there. They don't know their present and past participles. So when it comes to writing, you need assistance. You need an aide. You need a teacher's aide in the class to help these teachers to proofread with their kids over their mistakes. So when they do their final essay, it's correct when they turn it in. Now, when it comes to algebra, we deal with algebra. Let's start with pre-algebra, for example. If you take pre-algebra at school and you got a 70 to 75% passing rate, let's say a 2.5 or 2.0 passing grade here in America, it's C. But that, once you get into your other intermediate algebra classes, you're not going to be successful because you need 100% accurate on your pre-algebra class. Because if you got a 70% on algebra going into your other classes, that 30%, you don't know where your sides are being rotated from left to right. So that means you didn't follow your procedures when it comes to algebra, pre-algebra. So you're going to struggle throughout your whole math career with only 70s and 75% unless you get extra tutoring. Now, that's what you guys need to believe. You guys need more tutoring within the class, which is a teacher's aid.
Brother, I hear you, and I know that now situation were unique to Belize. It happens in the Caribbean, it happens in the United States, especially for children of color. But what I'm saying is, so there are a number of things happening. It's the teacher to student ratio. There's no way one teacher could teach adequately with 20, 25, 30 students in a class. I want to reveal this. I thought that, you know, people tell you you should have been a lifeguard engager. So people just tell me you should have been one teacher, one counselor, or one attorney. I say, I say the teaching thing because it seemed to come natural to me. So when I got a trade tech, again, the people then tell me be a plumber or a mechanic, you're charged by the hour, then charge that money you always need there. But I never really into plumbing. I was the only female in class. I had a whale of a time with all the people and all the men that were in my class. I passed with flying C's. But you took electives. And one of the electives I took was an African American history class. After I touched down in that class, I don't care well, so I had this the way I want to do for the rest of my life. So the degrees that I got were focused in African history. But after I finished my first master's degree, I recognized that most of my professors knew their content, but were piss poor at teaching. So whereas most of the people in my class would have gone on for PhD, and I got an opportunity to be in a PhD program. I was offered full scholarship for a PhD program. I never took it. I instead gone and take my second master's, and people are like, you know, that no, look good for you. I'm like, I know key. I want to learn how to teach. So I got a second master's with a focus in pedagogy to learn how to teach. Then got an opportunity for teach as an adjunct professor at an HBCU for almost 2 semesters. And that's how I know make for teach in a no 4-wall classroom. That not for me. So even though, so I said to people, and when you talk to most people, and you don't have to have one degree, you could take courses. I mean, before people had degrees, people may take courses, you know, like they apply to England or wherever and then take courses. So they still had certification. They never had a degree, but they were trained in whatever it is that they may want, whatever they may want to do, then get training in it. So I hear you. One number, so we have large classroom size with 1 or 2 teachers. You cannot teach in one classroom if you don't have classroom management, number 1. That not happen. So I wonder how much of the teachers really even literate.
Yeah.
And then another thing is, until you say just now, then change the percent. When I'm going to go to school in the 70s and 80s, the passing mark them is 70. No, then drop it to 60. Why? Why you want to lower the standard?
Yes, you know, and I oppose of that because a lot of people would take a 60% or a D and move on to the next class, and they're going to struggle because they got a D in that class. So 40% of the knowledge they didn't obtain, so they're going to struggle with that trade or major throughout their career if they don't get help, basically. You know, it's the same thing here in America. You could pass with a D in your classes and move on to the next class. It's just your GPA is going to just be low and everything. I'm an instructor. I teach electrical at ATI for a state. I deal with offenders. I deal with prisoners. I deal with youths who spent 10 years in jail from they was 10 years old to they was 16. And a lot of them are illiterate, basically, or stubborn or hard-headed and everything. And when I have 20 people in the class, it's hard for me to have everybody's attention at one time. Basically, when everybody needs questions or answers, you know, I can't answer everybody's question at the same time. I'm gonna have like 15 different questions, and I only got 55 minutes to teach in one class. So it's kind of difficult to teach a class with only one teacher. You need a student aide in each class got to pay them cheaper. You got to do what you got to do. But that one teacher in Belize is not going to work it. And the teachers in Belize could barely speak English themselves. All they do is speak Creole. If you put a teacher,
No. We are English as a second language learners. There's enough research proven over and over again that people ought to be taught in their first language.
Yeah. Okay, you know, I got two colonial degrees. I don't use none of my degrees in America. My trade itself could back up what I do in life here in America. I'm an electrician, like I said, trade tech, the best school in California.
Say it again.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was in the E building, you was in the P building, but I don't need no degree, no colonial degree here in America. My electrical skills alone could just back that up and pay me double than my degree. But I'm going to leave this with you. Like I said, everything is repetition with these kids nowadays. These kids don't like to study when they get home. You know, I didn't pass. I got kicked out of ecumenical from third farm. There's 72 Belize to go to school, guys, get trouble with the bad boys at a young age.
What happened after you get kicked out of school? After you get kicked out of school, you got in the States?
Oh, no. So I was born in America. I went to Fellowship Junior High School. I grew up in like one of the roughest gang streets in LA and everything. So my family sent me to Belize to go to school when I was 13 years old.
Okay.
Right? So, I went to school in Belize. I got kicked out of school. At third, well, I didn't get kicked out. I couldn't manage playing ball. I was playing semi-pro ball at a young age with YaYa and going to school at the same time. And I didn't know how to handle both sports and school at the same time in Belize. So I got kicked out of school and started working with my family in the citrus industry. Then when I came back to America, I started trying to play sports again. So I had to go back to school. I got my GED. Because when I learned school in Belize was very harder than going to school here in America. I took my GED on the first step and passed. Then I went to college and everything. And it all started from there. But kids out there, it's repetitious. It's repetitious when it comes to your schoolwork. Like we thought, you got to do it over and over again. When you get home, you got to do it over and over again. Yeah. Only the people are the people.
One love, brother. Appreciate the call.
Yes, I.
I really enjoyed that conversation. We're talking about, and the brother makes some good points, how important it is to have, Belize don't have, they may have on teaching assistants. I don't know if Belize have that. But you definitely, in a classroom of 20 or more students, you need two teachers, or a teacher and a teacher's aide in the classroom was his recommendation. But we really need to just look at the whole miseducation system or programming system or indoctrination system, because active learning is not happening. I mean, the school system never designed for active learning. It was designed to have employees work for people and make one wage, and not for people who have no dignified liberty. And so it really, Belizean people, we need to look at ourselves and just be real. We're good for, we're dressed up, you know, they got a new school bag, name brand, some of them slippers, shoes, clips in, especially the first week of school, they blade up, but that don't mean nothing when the children are not to learn. And for the ones that we make sacrifice or can afford it, there's so many other children who don't have the opportunity, who are being teased at school. I just don't get it. I'm being told that this is just one generation of roasters, but I mean, just if you listen to school children, especially primary school children, you listen to them when they break time and then go buy food, or you pass by one playground, or you dip on one bus. I mean, young children, primary school, lawless, most of them, lawless with their mouth, have no respect for authority. My experience, like engaging them and observing them, most of them, that's a reflection of the home. I'll ask Paulo if you're available tomorrow. I want Paulo keep saying, we are a product of our environment. They're not so much that I blame the youth, they're not children, that the adults who are responsible for raising their youths. And again, some of the adults, the young people themselves, one lot of them, who don't have the guidance. That really people will never have the attention, the care, the guidance, the patience. We have for the better people. But so I had to touch upon that at 7:15, and then I'm gonna finish read off the. Remember last week? I think it was last week Monday. I had shared. I said we need for decolonization and stop repeating what the colonizers' narrative, as if it's the only narrative and it's a true narrative. And so I'm going to talk about people who identify as Creoles, saying the European colonial narrative that a Creole is a British and African descendants racialized as black, calling themselves Creole ethnic group. And I say, well, I want to know my people and come from. African descendants racialized as black people. And all my skin folk aren't my kinfolk, but I know that I'm a people, because I could look upon them and identifiably African descent. Some people I can't identify, they may look like a European parent, but they identify as an African person. That's their identity. And we have enough people who sell we out. So that's why I say all my skin folk aren't my kinfolk. And that's just my lived experience and from my research. So I think I'm done share like 15 examples of where African descendants racialized as black people come from the Belize. The phone number is 280-5848. You could call at any time. You could change the conversation. Please don't call people name because we don't have evidence that what you just said are true, and we don't want the station be liable. Or no, we just hang on by way. Fingernail for make sure no turn on the TV, turn on the radio, turn on the devices, and you could see and hear we. Remember, say you could go to XTV Belize Facebook page, XTV Belize YouTube page for listen to we programming at any time. Share the link with other people. Subscribe with a work pound, their numbers. It really does matter. So I believe I'll give 15 examples, and I think I may have maybe 25. So I had wait for a call, not because I wanted to talk and talk and talk. I had to wait for Kim, my sister from Mahogany Street, Kim Grandma go send me breakfast to me. Give thanks to Rapa, we go give me breakfast to me when the brother Kello can bring it. I absolutely thrive, survive, bloom, flourish on community vibration. Absolutely. So it really mattered to me, and I look forward to my sister coming at 8 o'clock. Make we have this reasoning. So the 16th example, and this is from last week. I'm going to give the sources because I'm going to rush through, and I say if anybody want to hear the source, I could tell her. But to be responsible, I could give the source. Oh, caller. Morning. Hello. Hello. Good morning. You called WB.
With the Benafi, good morning.
Good morning. Talk to me.
Greetings in the name of the Most High. God bungi you in Garifuna. I'm Ramadan. The field Negro. I believe that education, as you say, you need more than one teacher, this and that, and the children are very lawless these days. They don't have respect for adults, etc. But I think that is the produce of the malignant, intentionally, but mindly, deliberately, idea to confuse the culture that we came from as African descendants. Because if you go all the way back to history, when Africans traveled before Columbus, they never had no war, no fight with nobody. They went through the Americas, traveling back and forth, and there was no fight. It's only until the European or the caveman, because the meaning of the word Europe means cave, come from the cave, buccaneer, pirate. They was the one set up fires to fight indigenous people against indigenous people, like the Buffalo Soldier going to North America. So the point I want to make is that culture has been vanished away, just like they took away our language. The language of our ancestors, Yoruba, Fulani, Hausa. They took that away. So now in our children, now they are implanting. They are implanting the same seed that you are not longer respect your adult, your elder, your peer, your parents, any adult around you. When I grow up, every adult I respect. You don't have to be my pa. You don't have to be my ma. You don't have to be my granny or my grandpa. I respect every adult. And they took care of me. I don't have to worry for move around. I can't go astray when I was a little kid because the adults are watching me. And the adult was telling, hey boy, where you going? Why you not live so? Why are time for school? Why? So I have fear to move because everybody was watching me. All praises be to the Most High for those good days. But right now, you can't say nothing to a child because the mother's ready for come and look for you for either for slap you or the pa come and look for see if they want to fight you or shoot you or hurt you. No matter what wrong they're doing on the streets. I was a street mad once. If you remember, you bought some earrings from me. I encounter a lot of kids and I have to get in the middle. And I tell them, why you fighting? What is the reason for fight? You want to take away the next one property. That's wrong. Stop do that. And when I look, I have a whole pile of parents looking for me to come and quarrel. Why I tell my child that? Why you don't know your pa? I said, Mister, your child was about to aggravate another child. And I stopped him from doing that. That's the only thing I did. I don't touch him or say, all I say to him, don't fight. And leave that alone. You don't have no reason to fight. Love one another. And then this system that we inherit, unfortunately, everything they say when America sneezes, we get the call. I wish we could get the real one, not the bad one. Because we learn everything. Oh, children right, woman right, all kind of right. I agree if you have woman right and children right, but that's what is creating in the Afro-American children throughout the Caribbean and maybe the world, that these children are educated not to listen to parents, not to listen to adults. Some of the teachers scared. I was a watchman at a school, at the Muslim school, and I noticed some of these teachers even scared to talk to the students. I saw a parent come and slap a teacher at a school where I used to be the watchman, the Muslim school. I saw a parent come and shout at the teacher and the principal, all kind of vulgar words. So when that happened, the children believe that that's the way it's supposed to go. They have respect for no one. So this introduction of European or North American idea of children right and woman right and all this right, all kind of right, is beautiful when you do it the right way. Because if a child have a right, no means that he's going to cause me as an adult or the teacher or the peer or the guy, peer, etc. But that's the wrong concept that they have adopted. Anyway, and in the other concept you will I close that and just finalize another. You will refer to Creole. Who is Creole? Some people believe they are Creole because they born a Belize. I tell them I travel as a seaman. I travel to many different countries, ports, and different cities, and I learned that Creole is the mixture of any race with the African person. If an African could mix with a Chinese, could mix with a Spanish, it could mix with, as long as the African blood is involved, that's the Creole. And at the same time, throughout the Central America and the Caribbean, the language. You have Creoles in Nicaragua, in Colombia, in Costa Rica, Puerto Limón, Costa Rica. You have Creoles there. They speak Creole. Ratan, they speak Creole over there too. Watila, Utila, Wanaga, they speak Creole there too. Now, and wrap up, Julius Nyerere, the former president of Tanganyika, which is present Tanzania, he have a book, Ethnicity and Race. And in that book, I explain to you all those stuff. One love, respect. I'll continue listening to you.
Thanks, brother. All right. We have another 6 minutes before it's 7:30. So, A History of Belize, Narda Dobson. It talks about, in 1807 was the Act for the Abolition of the Enslaved Trade. The act forbade the removal of enslaved people from Africa or any place in the West Indies or America which was not a British possession. It did not forbid the transportation of enslaved people from one British colony to another. So the 1807, they had one act, it's a law, for the abolition of enslaved trade. And the act say that you not for remove enslaved people from Africa or any place in the West Indies or the America would have never want British possession. But it never said nothing about you couldn't move enslaved people from one British colony to another one. Trade so profitable that the small fines imposed did not prevent smuggling. And then in 1811, another act passed which introduced more severe penalties for carrying on the trade. So I do a whole lot of write-up on that one in particular, for cite that was another space where African people racialized as black people came to Belize. It says, at last the settlers of Honduras were officially recognized as British subjects. So they mentioned one case where it says, it was not until a specific case of importing enslaved people was brought to the attention of the superintendent in 1814 that the export of enslaved people between Jamaica and Honduras was declared illegal. That was 7 years after the act was passed. So in that 7 years, and still made smuggle enslaved African to Belize. So that's source number 16 of how African descendants racialized as black people end up at Belize. And for reasons like this, from the inception of UBAD Educational, of United Black Association for Development, UBAD, that they advocated for the teaching of African and indigenous stories in our curriculum. These are the stories that would matter to our people, not the European narrative that we've been forced to learn or memorize. These stories are for African and indigenous kinfolk and how they resisted and how intelligent they were and how we could learn from their experiences. So that's the number 16. Number 17, I believe it's the same book, A History of Belize, Northern Adoption, pages 146 to 147. The Abolition Act did not put an end to traffic in enslaved people. Many continued to be carried between colonies in the guise of domestic servants, a practice which was allowed until a licensing system was introduced in 1824. So for 10 years, besides smuggling in people, they were bringing people as domestic servants, even though the law says you have to stop. So this would be number 17. Number 18, the demand for labor was high, and it is probable that many more than those licensed were brought in before the abolition of slavery in 1830. This says 33, but it ended in 38. So because of the high demand for labor, more than those who were licensed to bring people in, brought people in, and that's number 18. Number 19, Colonialism and Resistance in Belize, Essays in Historical Sociology by O. Nigel Boland, page 41. The population of the settlement increased towards the end of the century from almost 3,000 in 1790 to an estimated 3,500 in 1796 and about 4,000 in 1803. The increase may be chiefly accounted for by an increase in the number of enslaved people from 2,000 in 1790 to about 3,000 in 1803, particularly men who increased by about 500 in that period. These figures indicate that enslaved people continued to be brought into the settlement. So that's number 19. 20, Jamaica and Bermuda, a history of Belize not adoption. A Spanish missionary stated in 1724 that the community consisted of about 300 Englishmen and some Negroes who had recently been introduced from Jamaica. That's 1724. So we may have sources during different time periods of enslaved African people, or it could have been free people brought, let's say, from Jamaica. So you'll hear me say that more than once, but pay attention to the time period. I'm looking for spaces where African descendants racialized as black people came from to this territory we now know as Belize, and giving the examples, and I think I have about 25, so that we could stop with this singular narrative that I da Creole and I come from British and African. to say that African people from the continent of Africa, African people who were mixed with other people, such as indigenous people from the Mosquito Coast, or then called YaYa, African descendants who would have been free, who would have been in Belize and came from a British and an African mix and became, were either manumitted, free as enslaved people, or born free to a European father and maybe a mixed mother, for say that those people also owned enslaved people. People of African descent also owned enslaved people. It's 7:30 now. We have to take our first break. It's 2 Cents Cam time, and 2 Cents Cam is brought to us by Fort Point Security.
You're watching WB and this is XTV, and there's a lot of robberies going on right now in Belize. Make us find out the people in 2 Cents about it and see what they think. 2 Cents question there, how you feel about the robbery over the going?
Well, I'm not really focused right now because I know hang out, like say like, if I see what they going on out there, so.
Was that, but as a taxi driver, it don't bother you?
Well, you know, come my way because then I don't look out for it, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, so.
Yeah, you're 2 Cents.
Yeah.
As a taxi man, what do you think about, whether you're 2 Cents man, the robbery then with the one right now?
Well, my 2 cents man robbery then. The police, they have to tighten up, man, and be more vigilant. You know? They have to do their job better because I dey out by my stand sometimes and I don't see no police. I need my help with my stand sometimes, nothing, so we think a crime.
But you have a police boot right here?
But they not 8 o'clock at night here, so I just make one complaint and I tell them. I don't see none.
So you tell me no police are in your boot right over there?
Well, I don't see no police when I listen in my car, they patrol.
Okay,
they have a patrol and see what happen. You
That
can stay in your boot.
That's your 2 Cents.
Yeah, my 2 cents.
What about the robbery then when it going right now?
Well, Belize are always a rob because a lot of lazy people in Belize when I want to help themselves. Huh? You understand? So, if you don't want to get up and do something, you want to rob, because everybody got needs.
That's your 2 Cents.
Yes.
No, I just want to know if you about the robbery when it going right now as a taxi man.
Well, the robbery and things same way, so they have to slow down and ease up after it. You know, a lot of money they in Belize to make us we as Belizean. And us we the Belizean have to try and make the money happen for we, but the system to try and hold we down, my brother.
That's your 2 Cents.
That's my 2 cents.
You as a businessman, how you feel about the robbery?
For the robbery? Yeah. The robbery, I tell you what, once they stop the food for the young youth, that's the way it happen. Robbery was always there, because why? Bigger man that try to stop the food. Yes, that's my 2 cents.
All right.
Man has our respect.
As a businessman, how you feel about the robbery that went on right now in the city? What are your 2 cents?
Well, I left it to the Prime Minister because I'm an entrepreneur for 14 years and I'm back to school, right? And in our life right now, we have to work together, make we put all the nonsense and put sense together. You know? Because we got picnic, we got grand picnic, we got mothers. You know, I want to big up the hospital, the dentist, the teachers, the student, first farm, second farm, third farm, fourth farm, preschool, primary school. And big up all business where they protect themselves in our society, I believe.
That's your 2 cents.
That's my 2 cents. Respect.
How you feel about the robbery that went on right now?
Well, I know that I really got no kind of words to pass because I am not a robber man, so I got no kind of comment.
You are not a robber man?
I don't rob a man.
Oh, you're frightened.
I'm a man.
All right.
I know Kayo man no thief, right?
All right.
Good.
That's your 2 cents.
That's my 2 cents.
All right.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Monday, April 7th. 1 month from today, on my Earth Day, May 7th. 1 month. And my last month for B58. The phone number is, that might be Bolida number, you know, 280-5848. So if I don't win, I don't give him a stats. I was sharing earlier, excuse me, Kim, thanks to me hash fish. You know how long I never get hash fish? Now I get hash fish steady. And I really appreciate it. I really like hash fish. I mean, one of the meals our mom cooked that I really liked and I don't eat it for long. So thanks, Kim. When I'm to stop that Kim, grab and go on Mahogany Street for getting a breakfast and Miss Sister Julie. Julie? Forgive me to say I don't know who I mean. Kelama. Cook good food. So I'm going to get to the lunch. They say, Juliet, last. My memory isn't what it used to be, and that's real. But stop the forgetting the dinner anyways. Number 19, I'm gonna share with listeners, viewers, people streaming online. Remember to go to XTV Belize Facebook page, XTV Belize YouTube page for tune in to XTV programming, and you can share this link. Subscribe to the channel. 8 o'clock we should have a guest. I never given her the break times, but I didn't think so. I know the break times, but I had a duty for still telling her what were the break times. So the break times are 7, 7:30, 8, 8:30, and 8:45 are the break times. I'm sharing with those listeners, viewers, streamers, different places where African descendants, racialized as black people, come from based on the research where I do. Number 19. We're at number 19. I think we're going at 20. Yeah. I'm done read 20. Yeah, because I talked about the Spanish missionary. So I'm done read 20. And then, okay, where is 21? And here, right there you go, 21. Africans in Belize. The formation of a colonial society, Belize, from conquest to crown colony. Oh, Nigel Boland. Caller, thanks for calling. Talk to me. Why am I hearing myself? Please lower your... Thank you. Talk to me. We want to talk about this morning. Good morning. You're on the air.
Oh, yes. Respect. Thank you. Just another 60-second ceremony of your time. Did you mention that it's your birthday in April?
May. It's 1 month from today.
Oh, okay. I heard wrong. Okay. Well, best wishes on your birthday and your Earth Strong. No, I heard you mention Narda Dobson.
Yes.
Narda Dobson, I know the green history, I believe. And what is curious in that green history, I believe, not by Narda Dobson, Green Book History, I believe, that in that book, Narda Dobson said a different, the idea of what Belizean are taught. Belizean had been taught by the British and were British and the British and the British this and the fight in the Battle of St. George's Key, but to chase the Spaniards out. Okay, I don't care for none of them because the two are European, but just following what the book say. The book says that the Spaniard was in possession of the land and the British request permission to come in the land. And the idea for coming in the land was to extract logwood. So they were allowed to come in and extract logwood, and eventually, as is a part of their nature, they just shrunk the land, took the land, and set up our own ancestors, I would say maybe the African or Creole and maybe Mayan, to fight in the Battle of St. George's Key, as the history tells it. But that's where my curiosity links, and I wish somebody call and clarify that. Nada doesn't history, I believe, tell you that the Spaniards were in the land and the British was allowed to come in. Okay, I done with that. Respect.
All right, thanks for the call. I intend to, once I have the time, I have that book as well, because that's one of the things where, again, you have to ask yourself that who decide what they want to teach Belizean people about the history of this place and do it consistently, and who decide what they want to left out and who benefit from us not knowing the full story.
Who decide what they want to teach
I hear myself, but our mutual device or radio or TV. So I want to visit that with the intention for visit that conversation we bring up, because I wanted to, for one number of Belizean people, again, we know a lot of women are literate. One number of women don't have one interest in this particular conversation. Some we have oral stories. And so important that we find out how this place came to be, other than the singular narrative where the British left and the deeply enslaved political leadership continue that same narrative. For a number of people, they know that the Mayans were here initially, and then they want to go to the Battle of St. George's Key. There's a big gap between them two time periods. So we could definitely stretch talking upon that this week, next week. I suppose to be there for the rest of the month, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. And so we're see what happen. Thanks for that. And then, so we're at number 21. The formation of a colonial society, Belize from conquest to crown colony. O. Nigel Boland. It says, page 49, chapter 4, the institution of enslavery, the establishment of enslavery. Now, me use enslavery because it matters. Our people were always human beings. And so I do not refer to them as anything other than. When you say enslavery, enslaved, enslaver, it puts the responsibility on something being done to someone. That's why I'm trying to use the word poverty. I say impoverishment, because a situation was created for people's lives to be in the condition that it is. People born as full human beings into conditions that are often created by, oftentimes led, financed, managed by what people call the oligarchy, or I call them the predatory class. So I say, an appeal for military assistance, this is 1745, an appeal for military assistance in the face of Spanish threats in 1745 stated that the settlement was reduced to a small quantity of people, not exceeding about 50 white men and about 120 Negroes. This is 1745. An appeal for military assistance in the face of Spanish threat in 1745 stated that the settlement was, quote, reduced to a small quantity of people, not exceeding about 50 white men and about 120 Negroes, end quote, end quote. So, remember, when I had to read, I used to look for people, African descendants specialized as black people, and anyway part I mention it, write it down, make a number, and keep track. And then it says, I don't know why I have this in at 21, because you see this would be a different. Belize selected proceedings from the second interdisciplinary conference edited by Michael D. Phillips, page 47. So this might be one extra one where I never count. It is difficult to estimate how many Africans were brought to Belize in the early and mid 1700s, although presumable that number was quite small. So it is difficult to estimate how many Africans were brought to Belize in the early and mid 1700s, although presumable that number was quite small. So, okay, I see why I never add it as one. I have it under number 21, which is a 1745 information. So this is 1700 to 1750. So that's another thing. If I see something, say, 1800 in the book, I want to take my pen and put 1700 to 1799, so that when I go back and look, that's why I write it on my book then, because I want to be able to find something where I need to find it. And then that, the more you write, at least for me, it's therapeutic, and then I could remember the information. But if you don't use it, you lose it. So I really appreciate last week when I did, and I did holla on a calling, and people call, and people meet on the street and say, yeah, we did listen. That's why we're not calling, because we don't hear this information nowhere else. So I want trust, trust the process, that the phone not a ring, because they listen. 280-5848 is 10 to 8 at 8 o'clock on B break time. We have one guest from 8 to 8:30. Number 22, Colonialism and Resistance in Belize, Essays in Historical Sociology, O. Nigel Boland, page 83. I tell people, I have one inadequate home. Anytime it rain, it flood out. That me choose to never invest in at the home, so I could not only live in a dry weather house. Give thanks, Papa, give me a dry weather house. But the amount of money I spend on books, I can definitely have one adequate home. But clearly, the books are more important than having an adequate home. And it not help that I have one sister who retired from the military. She have one home that visited in Marin. I've been house sitting there since 2017, which is lavish. I have a lot of space. I mean, it's her home. I did live good because I did house sit with 4 dogs. So I don't really have no inspiration, but I should, as a responsible adult, I should own my own home, and it should be an adequate home. But every time I say, yeah, stop by books. I want my sister to foreign right now. So I ask her for bring 3 books for me. And one thing about she and look for say if the book they use first, because if they use then cheaper. So he tell me I find 3 book. 2 and I use and 1 new. One of the new one that by Chimamanda Adichie. I think it's called Dream Count. It's a novel. It's good. I think it costs like $20-something US. So he said, okay, yeah. I don't get a 3 book. Here I come again. I ask her, you could get that 2 more for me? I'm like, yeah, stop. But I love books. Books, we come from parents who is avid reader. Like they are telling no go to bathroom without a book. And we raise we youth the same way. So he reads, before he born, he got a library. He in my belly and he got a library. And so I encourage people, children are a product of their environment. And we grew up in our time when you go to a library. Well, our family never have to go per se, because we had one of the first families or the only families in the community. We had a whole set of encyclopedia. But anyways, make us stop this story and finish their thing. 22, Colonialism and Resistance in Belize, Essays in Historical Sociology, O. Nigel Boland, page 83. But many of these people are Creoles of the different West Indian islands. Morning, talk to me.
Good morning, sister.
Lower your radio TV device because I hear my voice just now. Morning, brother. Talk to me.
Yes, good morning.
Morning. Tell me, how the morning?
No problem.
Give thanks. Where want to share it with this morning?
I remember one time I read one book, a history book. No? You don't have 2 inches of writing. And the book may only have about 6 inches long, about 4 inches, about 5 inches wide. So when I begin to read all about the history of a Belize, I wonder whether they are the world trauma things they say this is the history of Belize, but we fight 1798 and all this kind of way, you know. So I believe we have too much writers.
We have too much what?
And when you look upon Belize, you go so like when they say the slavery down in the Caribbean. So after when they get up and the people in the corner of this place hide behind the bush, even the people that had the ship used to fight other people in the ship, beat the thing and take all the silver or whatever, come and hide in this part of the Caribbean. But of course, yes, the Maya, the Ketche, the Mestizo, all of them, they are already on the way. So after that, the Caribbean people begin to come to this place in such a way. I think we need good writers or so to really go and check back and go and like England and see if any history there. But we are all writers the right. But I think we have too much history writers over the days. That's why people study bother to talk about it or study it or read it or whatever they try to, you know. But I believe when we read them out of a book, I think that's the only thing about it. I don't really tell them not much. I will tell them the people like fighting out a key, a bar, and all of all the Spaniards were attacked St. George's Key, make a big alarm, and another not know about that, like, so no one was fighting. And just because, like I said, Spain first buy Lagoon, and then take Lagoon, they buy the alarm, and the alarm pass the South Tool and back on the other side of the land, and the people in on the other side of the land, the Indian, the Ketchiel, the Mestil, whatever they say, I don't want beef for no people anyway, so they stop on the argument, where their cars were all kind of thing. The white people inside, they come back across the river and make the center of the South Stone be the boundary of this country, you know. So they left there with them don't paper and they go right up to what we call Corozal. You know, that's why this is the only part of this. This is the only country that have a street. If you watch how the map draw, on the west side was street. Go right up to Corozal, you see? Yeah. So we talk about the fight, banana, thing, so, you know, Mexicans, so that. But what I'm trying to do, like, we have too many history and people with the right book. They never make no sense. And I believe it's true that yes, we got out of the key, see what's going on out there. But when we get out, you know, the ship they don't going. So that shows me that we never have no battles in reality. You know, I think when the people are key, like the Spanish company key, I say, when you go out, there, just Spain always send you to go, Spanish out and fresh water, and food supply, and out there, see? So when that year now they come back and fight that, the people will say, oh, so better call everybody because of a fight. I believe they just take their gun and fire and shot over their head, no? To fight them, make them turn back and then continue to take their food and thing and go about their business. But from the time they say 10th of September we're going out there after this, I believe none of that happened. But just as when they get out there, the Spaniards, then they see the back of the ship going. So I believe now the baymen where we and the white band whatever side of the baymen we never went bad and they never go to the other cannon. And I believe the Negro tell the white family control the cannon, fire a bomb at the men. But never know we are behind the bush. Because the bush, you can't say the key shake of the bush for what we call Hanover area, right?
I will have to go to a break, and I appreciate your calling and tell we what you read and what you believe. Now, belief is not based on evidence. And even when I cite the evidence, that mostly European writers who, again, they're not into we as African descendants. They never even see we as they never even see we as people. So but I appreciate your input this morning. I intend to go through that, looking at the documents, what they say, come from England. I have one of the book there right now this morning, but we have so much time allow me for share. But I appreciate you calling in based on what you read and what you believe. Now, important that one of the share the information now, that you listen so that you could ask question and add or take away from it. Okay?
Yes.
Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate you. One love. Break time. Morning Vibes. It's about 8:10, and I tell you now I have guests in the house this morning, and I intentional for bringing for you, sister, because beautiful, positive, uplifting things happen in a Southside Belize City, especially with African people racialized as black people. So, when I say I'm this before, because I'm a good troublemaker. Also, the Jane Usher community, they come from a big family. So, well known, oh my. Okay, so should hear me now. Sorry about that. Welcome back to this segment of Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes. We have in studio with us a well-known Jane Usher community organizer and chef, sister, my good sister, Latanya Gonges Apolonio. Morning, sis.
Morning, Belize. Morning, everybody. A blissful day to one and all now.
Sister ride by Korea, she had to play with. Amazing, just a really beautiful human being, extraordinary mom, partner, community activist. Like, this sister are real. I met Latanya when I'm in the organizing of the Jane Usher Boulevard community as it relates to then the proposed development at the Port of Belize.
Correct.
And it's still a concern. It's still a concern.
Right, yes.
But I tell Latanya, I said, come on WB and make we know what happened in the Jane Usher community. How did you become active in your community, Latanya?
Well,
I like your earring.
Thank you. I must say, it all started when I had Sister Nzinga as neighbor. You know, she was an active member for we community at Jane Usher. You know, well-disciplined woman. Sister Nzinga Morning, and big up to you.
Sure.
Yeah, and also a product of UB too. So, I mean WB. And the UBAD Foundation.
Oh, yes, what I tell you, she that liar, the fence listener, follower. She that one thing.
Yeah, so it all started back then, no? And then we continue on putting in the work, piece by piece, to ensure that for we youths, you know, have something to fall back on and to look back to, you know, because it's all about the youths, for betterment for them.
So what are you doing in the community right now? I don't know how serious organizing the going for the Easter for the youth. So what do they do?
Well, this is our third annual. The flyer says second, but our third annual Easter Family Fun Day for our community now. That's also a moment where we take time to come out and share the love with the community, meet and greet one another, you know.
Give thanks to flyer it up, you send a flyer in advance. So what usually happens at a Easter event? Look what with there, who all come out, who provide funding or in-kind donation?
Well, the community on a whole, you know, chip in. People, different families would donate stuff. You know, we have games for the kids, games for the adult, you know, music, everything. So that basically was a wet day. You know, Easter hot, and majority of people go travel, but for the ones who are at home, we stay in the community, you know, we try to provide this lead.
So what do you forget what up?
So we have pools, we have the pools out this year. Well, the long hose with the water, yeah, and whatever it takes we get wet.
What part do you usually meet to have this event?
On the ball court at Jane Usher, sorry about that, but on the ball court at Jane Usher. It's located in the center of Jane Usher, you can't miss it. So if people, anybody else from any other community who want to come out, and could come out and come have fun with you know.
Oh yes, yeah. Oh, we got big pool to the last year?
This was last year, yes. This was
what time the event start and what time end?
So we start at 10 and then we end like 6 o'clock.
Ooh, no go long.
So
and we feed them while they're out there?
Yes, food, drinks, everything free. We have lead prizes, giveaway this year. We want to do at least 3 food hamper raffle. Yeah, so.
How much children come out last year?
We had about close to 100.
Wow.
This year we cater for 150 kids.
Wow, that's
that include goodies bag and food and you know everything.
That's a big, and this is primarily community organized, community strength.
Correct.
Give thanks. I happy for here, and indeed, I know everybody, parents have the time, the money, whatever it take the bandwidth for carrying children out of the city during Easter. But same way people in your community want to have one, and I know that children really enjoy it.
Yes, and I look forward to it. Everybody that again this year, yes, again this year. So when I link up this year again.
And it's a Easter Sunday.
Easter Sunday, April the 20th, right from the General Shabal Court.
Give thanks, give thanks. We have everything we want to need, or people could still donate?
Well, we have majority stuff, yes, but you know, we're still open for pool donations, you know, if anybody wants.
People your number so they can link you?
Yeah, my number is 669-1983, and you can also link my sister at 636-7975 for any kind of donation in a cash or kind.
What's her name?
Ashana Gonges.
Good, good, good. Now, that's what happened right now. But what community concerns you to get where you know need to be addressed, but you don't have the bandwidth to address it, but that's not because you don't know that these are concerns in the community. What are some community concerns for the Jane Osha community? Okay. And so for people who want to know, please tell them what Jane Osha community today.
Okay, so Jane Osha, located in a Port Loyola. Port Loyola, Port Loyola is one of the largest constituency in a Belize City, located on the south side. Jane Osha, like one of the third community in a Port Loyola. We located right next to the Port Authority in a Belize City. You know, over the years there have been different development from, I should say, both sides of government, because when Sister Dolores get in, she put in all the work. Brother Boots me get in, he me put in all the work. So we community, now developing community at the moment. You know, there's still a lot of works to be done. With people, primarily the independent people, because we're independently driven, you know, with our working class community. In every household, I could proudly say there is a student, a person who works, an employer, or an employee. You know, we independently driven. So we not sit down and depend on, you know, nobody for help. We get up and we put in the work.
I really, and then because of the way, I don't know if that's so whoever live with the community, having the football court in the middle of the community make everybody accessible. Correct. So when you come in, when you go down the boulevard, like you're going, Ashame, bring the map, you know,
yeah, correct.
When you come in at Jane, when you come down the boulevard, like you're going to Port, Jane Osha want be the last street on your right before you get to the port with pave.
Yeah.
Well, the pave now, it never always pave.
Yeah, it never always.
So if you go, and that street go all the way to the back. To the left, once you pass the first street on your left, the just bush.
Mangroves.
But you and your family may live there with some other people, but what time frame?
From, let's say, mid-1990s.
Mid-1990s, you are most about
30, say about 40 families.
About 40 families will live there on the left till about what year? From the 1990s till about what year?
Till about 2008, 9, 10.
Right. So then get relocated on the right, and some people still grumble about that.
Yeah.
And so all the property that they on the left, and to own knowledge that the port owned the property?
Was owned by the port, but recently I think it's back in the hands of government. I'm not sure.
Well, yeah, because government bought the port back from a private developer.
Correct.
So now it is government. Now, we don't have one concern but what a property one get used for.
Exactly.
Because you have one direct impact on that community and nobody know the contact to, you know?
Yeah.
Nobody know they say nothing to, you know? I want to see some action they happen. We want to see it happening in some areas that have big piece of land.
Basically, I'm surveying, you know, but what is surveying about? Maybe that we check up on the amount of acres of land whether there or whatever, or maybe for development. But I know during the past political campaigning, I saw the present era rep posted some stuff that entails, you know, development, tourism-wise in the community or no?
No, Belize is a signature to the Escazú Agreement. And the Escazú Agreement for Latin America and the Caribbean is one of a kind. Primarily, it protects human rights defenders, environmental activists. But it said that any country will sign and ratify, which Belize has, that any decision you make should be with the inclusion of the people of Belize.
Correct.
That information should be available in real time to the people. And if any wrong happen, they should have some legal remedy to address the wrong. So we ring the bell right now.
Correct.
For say nothing will happen on that piece of land without adequate awareness for Belizeans overall. If the government of Belize own the port of Belize, the Belizeans own it. But with a particular interest for the people of Jane Usher community, because they're the nearest to that physical piece of land, and this don't have nothing to do with party politics.
Correct.
You have everything to do with one healthy, thriving, primarily African descendants, racialized as black, working class community. And this sister, it's not often that I meet people like this sister, but when I tell you, knowledgeable, well-read, in tune, people want shock when they book her. And that's what usually people look on her and read on working class, but I tell you no. I'd put on a table with anybody in colonial papers. Right. And they have no picnic. And I write so she ain't partner to raise a youth thing. Brilliant children, working class people. And that's why I said to people, it's up to we to change the narrative of African descendants, racialized as black people, especially in a Southside Belize. Because if you watch the news, you don't think nothing good not come out of we. And that's why I really want Sister Latanya come on today and share some of the concerns they have. What are some concerns they have about students? What are some, I know hunger is one issue, but what are some concerns with, as it relates to students?
Hunger is one issue. Let me see, hunger is one issue. That's one of the major issues. We have, because of the lack of infrastructural development in our community, when it rains, a lot of the streets flooded. We don't have one proper drainage system for the water and flow. So it's challenging for, we get with students to school, even us as, working people. And because enough of our youths now, black youths, this here thing, that one thing for, that one big issue.
This here thing?
Some of the youths now, if they hear not properly trim and groom, they would have send them back from school.
Children in a Jane Usher community, they say that they send them back from school.
Correct.
If they hear, we talk about boy children.
Male children, correct.
Yeah. Men children.
I know a couple instances with females too, but primarily that they male.
Okay, so here we have another report of within that community, and that the children then tell you or their parents tell you?
Well, I go through it because I have my son. We're in a high school. And like every ending of the month, it's a policy for the school, for the youths, they trim their hair, mark up, and stuff like that. And if that is not done, then the youth gets sent home.
And
until you do that.
And they don't always inform the parent before they send the youth home?
No, not all the time. No.
Okay, so that's a concern. But you say hunger, and that's a serious concern, and you have this campaign for bring pressure upon the government of Belize, primarily the Ministry of Education and the Labor Ministry, for pass one law was said that Belizeans, if we interest the African descendants racialized as black people, have a right, they only have to be clean, but they could go to school with their hair however they want it, because they're a human right, and the Belize Constitution give them the right. But you say hunger is one issue. Tell me some more about that.
Okay, so we have many youth still and children where they go to school, where you don't really have the source of finding the 3 meals or at least 2 meals for the day. We still have youths where they go to school hungry. I know people like bash parents and bash mothers and bash, but listen to me, the struggle's real in the streets, in the hood. A lot of people, excuse me, it's hard for, a lot of people survive with cost of living gone up, and not having jobs. So a lot of the youths have to go to school because they pressure you if your picnic not go to school. School officer no want here and don't have no food or no money not there, or they don't have proper uniform. You need to get your youth to school by any means or any cost. So this is one of the reasons why parents are forced to send their children to school without having, you know, food to eat.
And so, has the community been able to organize to address that concern in any way?
Well,
I know you have limitations. That you know, a working mother, you have one big family with your partner, and so you come from a big family yourself, and so only that one strong hold in the generation community.
Correct.
You know how you have the yard, we have 4, 5, 6 family, and then people got picnic. She that one, they come from, and then that generations deep in that community.
And for us, I mean, me, my sister, and my brother, the only way, you know, for we moms done transition, for we dads done transition and stuff. So I'm the elder for the family, and my dad always taught us to, you know, live together, never separate, because we know that on strength. And we all we have, and that's how we live. And the little bit we have, we always try to share. You understand?
No, this is all working class, not like to the core. Work, they don't got no spoon in their mouth. Nobody don't got no big time job where they make 6-figure income. And this is the beauty of a healthy community that once we have, we want to share. They're not even that they have surplus, you know.
Yeah.
They're not because they got extra, you know. That just because if I eat, I could tear this leaf, plant it in half and give somebody else and eat. And that's how they live for years and raise their children in that way. And I salute your family, your parents for teaching us how to uphold that.
Yeah, and so right now, between me and my sister, when we would have cooked food for our children at school, we cook only extra. And we, you know, carry it to school and give it to a couple students who need it. So we have a small feeding program between me and her that we currently manage out of our own pocket. And one of my aim for this year, for the new school year, that to expand on that, you know, and feed at least 25 students in the Muslim community primary school, you know, where we currently have our small feeding program.
How much are they feed right now?
Like 10.
About 10. How much you cost to feed that 25 and one for the upcoming academic year?
Yes, for the upcoming.
So, when you don't work out the numbers to say how much it costs to feed 25 children per day or per week, or so let's say it costs $1,500 for the week to feed 25 children. And then you could say, listen, it costs $1,500 when the school year starts September 2025.
Correct.
It could give you the $1,500 or it could give we in kind. So we want rice, beans, this is the phone number. How much you cost to feed 25 children at the Muslim community school?
Well, I had a logistic run up for like the month. And I run we like $5,000 per month, you know, for keep the feeding program going.
And then get one meal 25.
A day? Yes, I get your meal. We want to include fruits, veg, and one juice, one natural juice.
Okay, and you never know me I say this, but make them people know you don't want to train chef. Please make them know. Please, look, when I tell you I'm proud of this sister, and I tell you if I work, but the heat up if you I like it up too. Tapa chef. She's very humble. But it's a heighter sister.
Yeah.
Tell me about your training. Can you tell me one thing the other day? And I said, because I never know she trained as a chef. I mean, heights a chef.
Yes.
I just know I tell her if I work. So she says, how you get training? How you get into this? Tell me what you're telling.
So I started out as sister say humble, you know. My first job in the kitchen was in Dangriga, because I was basically Griga band girl, right? So I used to work at Salty Dog. That was my first kitchen experience. Others than home, because we raised for, you know, if we need flour from we 9, we had to get on the stove and cook 10, 11, 12. So we know about the kitchen. We grew up in the kitchen. But industrial wise, after I moved back to Belize today, I, you know, me need more training to step up my skills. So I went through the youth apprenticeship with Miss Finnegan, and I must say good morning to Miss Diane. Excellent woman that the same way. And I went through the apprenticeship program and garnered, you know, the skills that I needed through the training they provided. Yeah.
So what kind of skills you got? Can she make you know it? That's why I like people around me. would know more than me and different from me, or know I stay far from kitchen. So I really wowed by her level of proficiency, expertise, knowledge about managing a kitchen, and she encouraged, and this is what make her so beautiful, she encouraged other people like, yo, it's okay for just know for cooking, you know, but if you want to make it in this industry, you have to stay current with your skill set, be open to serious competition. So when I see me to move up in the field and way, I tell you, I had to work on my game, we don't need to work on a game, be serious and be consistent with the level of work on it, put out, so that what skills, the training where you have, what that make you different from just somebody who know for bubble?
Okay, so I started out just a bubble, and then stepping in the kitchen, started as a prep cook, and then from there I went to the hotline, stepped up my game, learned a little bit of garnishing, how to do food presentation. From there I stepped up my game into managing the kitchen, became a supervisor, and you know, just to float the whole kitchen to where I'm at now as a front line. You could call me a sous chef, whatever, you know. So.
Wait 1 second, we're gonna call. Morning, we forget all about the callers. Me to Mrs. That conversation. Thanks for calling on a break time too, but go ahead, we'll take this call. Go ahead. Talk to him.
YaYa. Morning.
Morning.
What do you know about the lady said?
You to eat?
It's about, no I'm not.
Oh, okay, go ahead.
Uplifting other women. You know, for some reason, it seems that women are women's worst enemy in this country. I mean, the level of attack that comes from women is grotesque compared to the level of attack that comes from men towards women. Women are ruthless, vicious. But kudos to this young lady. And one thing I wanted to tell her, what is the field she's in?
What?
What does she do?
She's a chef.
Well, I will tell you something, darling. I'm calling her because about the same thing. I think I heard you say cooking, but I remember. Listen to me. Whenever you have love in that pot, because I don't care if you're a 25-star Michelin chef. If you are not doing that thing with love, darling,
correct.
trust me, we ain't coming back. But I want to tell you something. Back Martin's got some people who cook there, Daniel Pacorazal, Tawali Street, right downtown there. Man, if she tell us 25 a plate, you won't pay that, you know why? Because the love, what I've been telling me, what I've been up and the Boulevard, it don't matter if they move there from one end of the city and send them back to the Google, the crowd will follow, you know why?
The love in the pot.
That's true, brother.
That food with love, darling. And the next thing I have to remember, the reason that we're measuring scale, and we got some very sensitive taste buds. If this morning when you make cook you, I'm really tasting your food.
Correct.
And when we meet you today, it has to have love. And if you don't got that, don't cook that day. Don't tell everybody today I don't feel good. Because if you don't feel good, you'll still cook it. We will know a pass on to the food. We will taste that we work with love. Right?
Real talk, brother. Big thanks to this call.
I mean, it don't matter how far you go. Once the food good, you believe me, that line was the day. You understand me?
Yes,
I want to tell you something, you wouldn't believe it. Every Friday, there will kill a massive crowd of people at Mission. They are migrant needs. Some of them is nostalgia. It just reminds you of the day when you get a paper plate with that thing wrong inside. And our feeling it brings back. You see? But once the food good, darling, trust me, you don't have nothing to worry about.
Thanks for the call, brother. Appreciate it. Real talk. That missing from the conversation.
Real.
You see the beauty of having people participate in the conversation, because that's real right there. So.
Yeah, that's true.
Before we have to go to a break, what you got to say about that? For the love in your food?
Well, that part that I'm big real part of it. You know, for me, cooking is my passion, and I always encourage people to, you know, go for your passion. I mean, that's not for me sit down in our call center, sit down behind all this. You know, you know me for that.
Right.
Kitchen is my passion. So I went the extended mile, you know.
Give them people the number one more time where they ask for two things. For Easter Sunday, then get majority of what they need, but they could still do it a little top off. So you could call Shay and sister for that. And they need funding. It's $5,000 a month or in-kind donation for feed 25 children of a Shia for She Sister feeding program that a Muslim community school. I really need for the check-in for the sister. Get them the two number and talk slow so they get the number. Get your sister name because we need, especially with people that are diaspora that know things tight. I know. But these are the primarily black children.
Yeah.
At the Muslim community school, especially people who have the Muslim faith, especially when they need for Khalid.
So my number is 669-1983. My sister number is 636-7975. And we take any donations in a kind or cash. We're on a call and link up, then we're giving a banking information and stuff like that.
Give thanks, Latanya Gonges Apollonia. Here up and down and say, I wish I could have told them if I work, because I tell them, go like, when you eat up the food, but I don't do that. But in my town these days, sister, big respect. I'm proud of you.
And thanks for having me, even though I never really touch base on everything, but yeah, I shall be back again.
Don't say one side of host, you to come back again. All right, thanks, sister.
Yes,
Break time.
In Belize, we value our families.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes for this morning, Monday, April 7th, 2025. I confuse people. Today is not my Earth Day. A month from today, May 7th is my Earth Day. But today is Farmer Stumpy Earth Day. Well, I'm original big year, brother. Big respect, Stumpy. Earth Strong, give thanks to your mom for choosing to give you birth. Celebrate this day, brother. I wish you the best for this new season. Health, strength, today that your day. Stumpy, that you're strong today. And Larry G sent me the name of the person. I get story from people, and sometimes I don't get a story straight, but I want to make sure that I recognize people for the work what they do. And when we say somebody win one race, we don't think about how much time, energy, sacrifice people make for win. So Devin Major won first youth Creme Classic, and Ahmad Charrington won first youth yesterday in then a first cousin from two sisters. You know how they say in a Creole, two sister picnic. Big respect to them two youth there. Devin Major and Ahmad Charrington. They're cyclists and they won one run the junior cross country and one run for youth for Creme Classic. Big respect to them people. And then we just had our sister, Latanya Gonges Apollonio, a credible, hardworking Jane Usher community organizer, sweet Southside Belize City. Please, if you could contribute in any way, in kind or with cash, please do. I'd vouch for them. They're trustworthy people, hardworking people. I forget the name of the brother I was calling just now, but his car was right on time. We talked about food and how important it is to, depend on good vibration, high vibration, cooking and preparing food for people. And one of the reasons why I really appreciate callers calling in. I don't know everything. I might miss something. I might be wrong about something. I might need clarity on something. There come the caller for just like strengthen the conversation. So big respect to Latanya Gonges Apollonio. I look for the rest of the month we are there, I look for other people and where I trust, where I know credible, we might not have the spotlight. We have with Dara and with Timmy and with Sticks, with Northern, with City, but there are other people in the community, black people in particular, to talk about what are the beautiful things in the community, what they hold the community down, where if they're willing, and I know so you're credible, of course I'll give you a half an hour, I want uplifting, positive news about us as a people. So we could feel good about ourselves. We don't need nobody to tell for we story for we. We could tell our own story. And so that's why I give thanks for this space what we know as Zinc Fence. And I want to tell you here, I say, 55 years, a Mandela newspaper, 35 years, Creme Radio, 29 years, YUB Educational Foundation, and 21 years, XTV. Morning, thanks for calling. Talk to me. Morning.
Yeah, I want to talk about two matters, YaYa. There was one incident where I witnessed yesterday at the supermarket with our parents when they locked up one child, right?
But how old the child?
The child looked like about 3 years old to me. So I mentioned something to the parents, but I decided to not do nothing because I figure it may be worse. It may probably take it out of me and fix it.
One black person?
Yeah. One young parent. I know you say that a bad parent or nothing like that, but the way how that went on yesterday, it bothered me up to like right now. So I say, instead of mentioning something to the person, I better call the cops. Because I think this is something where they say in the community, where bother me with young kids, like your parents stress out due to day-to-day demands and other type of thing. Whatever. So that's mainly what I talk about. At one point, too, I say, touch the child, the child actually, lose the balance. And these are, couple people there, but nobody like it, but because of the, delicate situation, nobody, no one just get in on it because then it could make things worse, no?
Was it a man or a woman?
Well, female.
You had other children with her, or am I just that one child?
I don't get that part of it.
Am I just one child you had with her, or you had...
Just one child. And then beside that, there are months like your other family trips, like, no touch her, nobody, aggressive kind of way, like the child look like, like you don't know what to do because you can't express yourself. You basically can't do nothing. Like, he probably the one where next move I could make, get, some stuff, that tone of voice way to get handled,
Well, I appreciate as brother that you call in and express this concern. It's sad that this behavior has become normalized, and I hear people say that Belize and the States, I don't check people's children because I don't want to put me, but I could say from my personal experience, the States and the Belize, I read the room and I would have checked the child. Lower the voice, lower your device. I would have read the room and I look upon the parents and I'm like, sister and brother. And I say as quiet as I could, I'm like, sister and brother, I know it's not easy being one parent. Let me make her just talk to the child for a minute. And I get down to the child eye level. Usually, I look different. So maybe the child just surprised that this person will look different. And I don't, just reason with the child, leave it, and just give the mom that moment for like take a breath. And sometimes the face they say, I don't really want to tell about yourself, but they kind of hold back. And sometimes they may recognize me from working with the media, or they may not. But most of the engagements I have with children who oftentimes because they don't know differently, they stress out. I know they make excuse for that. It's wrong to treat our children that way. And I know they act like I never do the same thing with my youth, because I did. But sometimes I just need one lead breather and just say like, sister, stick and breathe. Make her talk to the youth for a minute. And the child just to be one child at 3 years old, curious, it explore. And so I appreciate you, one, calling in as a brother. Two, also being sensitive to, I don't want to aggravate the situation anymore for this youth, so I cannot say nothing, but that it bothers you so much overnight that you still calling this morning and you recognize, because a lot of people don't recognize this, when a child just to be a child and expressing itself, that's a part of the child's growth and development. So respect to that, big respect to you for that, brother. What about the second thing? Can you say that two things?
Yeah, okay. The next thing about some house, I say, more than one occasion, I say, kids, the young people, young boys, they found some house, like they gallop through the streets, and this look really dangerous, but healthy for the house, and then to catch in an accident, I'll tell you the house, they run full speed on a cement street, and then they whip them, because they want more speed, because then they get one chill out of it, no? But for the house, well, I know the house when they enjoy that, and abuse an animal, no? And like I say, it's dangerous, and this I want to see this, and we know they are like countryside where to like do this type of thing,
I appreciate you bringing that to the fore. I said this is why I had a grassroots journalist. I really like when we community tell for your own story about the things, and we just say this constantly in the city. Just last week, one sister at Ladyville, the horse actually died. And this sister, my understanding is she's a lover of animals. And I mean, she gone in. I mean, like this sister never play. She gone in for parents, for public officials, for the negligence of horses in particular. Like I don't know when this become one thing. I don't know that with the tourism and the horse and carriage. I don't know when horse about in a city become one thing.
I don't know. I started to see it like late last year, more than one time. Actually, like, I see it at two places. I see it back at Father Road more than one time, and I see it from Bayman Avenue. I mean, it's a busy stretch of street in Belize City. Yeah.
Respect, brother. Big respect for calling this morning with them two serious community concerns. Might not make news, but it matters to the people in the community, and a real choice and black man for calling. Okay. Thanks so much, brother. Have one good day and take care of yourself out the road.
Yeah, thank you as well.
One love, brother. Break time.
Take a deep breath. You feel that energy.
Welcome back to Wake Up Belize Morning Vibes here at XTV. Can't take no more calls. It's like 3 minutes to 9 and 9 to 9. So I want to thank the callers, the viewers, the listeners, the streamers, people who are Cremites when Sister Latanya they left. Just now you say, just to make sure you say I that Cremite, that for Cliff. Make for Cliff day. I mean that sister for years, like she tuned into Zinc Fence. The Zinc Fence are really for she one big part of a she university, for she knowledge gathering, analysis, sis sharp. So big thanks to everybody. We talk about literacy, African descendants visualized as black people, and where they come from for end up here, that Belize, you know, the early 1600s, 1700. People calling and talk. We had a guest on, Latanya Gonges Apollonia of Jane Usher Community, fundraising for a feeding program for Feed 25 Children in September 2025. The Muslim Community School in Southside Belize City, and then raise funds as well for Easter Sunday for host 150 inner city youths where one day in the city and a hat. Carla Carlina, big up Latanya for how important love is, her as a professional chef, brother Carlene with concerns about the negligence of horses in the city, and experiencing adult female youth, the verbal and physical abuse of one minor child. Other people see nothing about it. I want to stretch talking about that tomorrow. Really want to thank everybody. We're lucky. When I came in this morning, Roger Rushford, aka Rafa, I'm the security guard. Now it's Shane Flowers, Master Chief Operator, Alexi Villat, town correspondent, sports correspondent. Keep my eye on Alexi Bilal. Check out the coverage yesterday from the junior cross country race. Alexi Bilal, me say so, sports commentator, sports correspondent for XTV. Brother Cliff Lewis as the chief engineer here at XTV. The glue as we call her, and downstairs on the second floor, we had Larry Guerrero as the on-air personality at Creme Radio. Again, thanks everybody. We're tuning in. Stay locked in to Morning Stew. Goes on until 12 o'clock. 12:30 is Creme Radio full newscast. And then I think 3 o'clock or 3:15 the news brief. 5:15 full newscast. 6 o'clock XTV full newscast. And to make good choices, take good care of ourselves. With health and strength, we should be back here tomorrow morning for continue this community dialogue. Until then, only the people want to save the people.
Wake up, Belize. 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 Another day is here. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. We got to keep moving. Na 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 na. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Everybody got to put their time in. Wake up, Belize. Wake up, Belize. Voice our opinion and place your calling. WB. Be yourself, see yourself. This is a show by people. Belize our hopes up to needless reason. Nobody feel left out. Is the vibe we dealing. Let's find a solution. Yeah, yeah, yeah.